morning, it's Bob Mason from FX Empire, and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, EOS, Ethereum, and Ripple's XRP. We'll be looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, and the support, resistance, and pivot levels. It is Wednesday, the 12th of August. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar and the hourly candlesticks, bearish start to the morning. Going to need to see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 11,482 to support a run at the first major resistance level sitting at 11,840. Going to need to see support from the broader market, however, for Bitcoin to break out from 11,500 levels, which is a key resistance level. So barring extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside on the day. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 11,020 into play. Barring extended sell-off should see Bitcoin avoid sub-11s and the second major support level sitting at 10,662. Looking at the MACDs, we're seeing a slight narrowing of the bearish histograms, but we're not seeing any bullish crossover as yet, and that's supported by the 50 EMA that has crossed through a bearish crossover through the 100 EMA and narrowing against the 200. Suggestive of a pullback through the morning. So key through the early part of the day will be to avoid that first major support level and to break through the pivot and 11,500 levels. Moving across to EOS against the US dollar, slightly bearish start to the morning. Going to need to see EOS move through the pivot at 3.053 to support a run at the first major resistance level sitting at 3.2457. Going to need to see a broad-based crypto rally, however, for EOS to break out from 3.10 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect resistance at 3.1 to cap any upside. Failure to move through the pivot, and we should see EOS target that first major support level at 2.8111. Barring extended sell-off, should see EOS avoid the second major support level, sitting at 2.6184. Looking at the MACDs, we're seeing that narrowing of the bearish histograms, but nothing conclusive to suggest a breakout on the day. The 50 EMA has been narrowing against the 100 and the 200, and we could see a bearish crossover that would bring sub 2.9s into play and that first major support level. So key through the morning would be to avoid sub 2.9s and then move through that pivot, 3.053. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, bearish start to the morning. Going to need to see Ethereum move through the pivot at 380.65 to support a run at the first major resistance level at 396.53. Support from the broader market is going to be needed to break back through to 390 levels, however. So barring extended rally, first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 398.3 should cap any upside on the day. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the 38.2% fib at 367 and the first major support level at 363 into play. So barring extended sell-off, should see Ethereum avoid sub 350s. Second major support level sits at 347. Looking at the MACDs, again, trend across the broader market, we're seeing a narrowing of the bearish histograms, suggestive of a possible partial recovery. When we look at the EMAs, however, that bearish crossover yesterday and a widening from the 50 and the 100 this morning, and a narrowing of the 50 from the 200 suggests another pullback through the day. So key through the morning will be to move back through to 380s and a breakout from the pivot to then bring 390s and that first major resistance level into play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, bearish start to the morning. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 0.2858 to support a run at the first major resistance level at 0.304. Going to need to see support from the broader market to break back through to 0.3s, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 0.30744 to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, we've got the 23.6% fib 31.34 that could come into play. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 0.2641 into play. Buying another extended sell-off should see Ripple's XRP avoid sub 0.25s and the second major support level sitting at 0.2459. Looking at the MACDs, slight narrowing of the bearish histograms, but nothing to support a bullish morning ahead. And we had the bearish crossover, the 50 through the 100, and we got widening from the 100 and a narrowing against the 200, suggestive of another pullback on the day. So key through the morning would be to move back through the pivot level at 28.58 and a return to 29 levels to target that first major resistance level.